Welcome once again to Noir Alley, coming to you these days from my Hell's Island hideaway. I'm your host and noir vivant, Eddie Muller, and this setting is particularly appropriate for today's offering. That's because the star of our film, Lawrence Tierney, spent more of his life in saloons on both sides of the plank than he did on movie sets. Today's film, Bodyguard, is an RKO picture from 1948, made in the prime of Tierney's immensely checkered career. No actor did more to sabotage his skyrocketing success than this Brooklyn-born son of an Irish cop. During the heyday of noir crime dramas, Tierney reeled off a string of rough-and-tumble B pictures that were memorable mostly for the star's authentic mean streak. His breakthrough came at Monogram in 1945 when he played John Dillinger in a patchwork bio of the legendary bank robber. Tierney's scary persona made the threadbare picture compelling and garnered enough attention to earn it a Best Original Screenplay nomination, a rarity for such a low-budget show. Tierney, of course, would never get near those kind of accolades. Although he did have formal acting training, he never completely lost what he called the doity poiple boids in his Brooklyn accent, which made him seem all the more believable as an on-screen heavy. And make no mistake, Tierney was a heavy, even when he played the good guy, as in today's film. His first starring role at RKO was the 1946 B picture Step by Step, which Tierney promoted by doing a 5-day stint in an LAPD drunk tank. It was only one of many disagreements he'd have with John Law over the course of his life, most stemming from a penchant for barroom brawling. In one well-publicized incident, Tierney was arrested on the altar of a Santa Monica church, naked, drunk, and screaming for sanctuary. From his holding cell, Tierney used his one phone call to plead with his brother Ed to come bail him out. But when Ed arrived, the brothers got into a raging fistfight that only prolonged the actor's jail time. Producers, writers, and directors really had no choice but to exploit Tierney's notoriety. Even Mickey Cohn, LA's reigning mob boss, was savvy to Tierney's wild rep, saying, "This guy Tierney has played so many gangsters, he thinks he's the real thing." In 1947, the studio took a gamble on the actor's surprising popularity, casting him opposite studio vet Claire Trevor as the villainous lead in a nervous A called Born to Kill. They played psychopathic lovers who made Walter and Phyllis from Double Indemnity look like school kids. Now, Trevor, of course, was acting. Nobody was quite sure about Tierney, especially as his rap sheet grew more robust than his resume. Born to Kill turned out to be Tierney's first and last chance at major stardom. Bodyguard was his last picture for RKO as a headliner once the studio realized that this particular cash cow would always be a bull in a china shop. From 1948 on, Tierney was relegated to playing surly leads in B films, although occasionally some fearless producer would give him a bit part in a bigger budget film, like Cecil B. DeMille did with The Greatest Show on Earth. The co-star of today's movie, Priscilla Lane, came to Hollywood in the 30s as one of the singing and dancing Lane sisters. And although she was typically saddled with simplistic girlfriend roles, she made some excellent pictures, like Four Daughters, The Roaring Twenties, Saboteur, and Arsenic and Old Lace. Safe to say she never had another leading man quite like Lawrence Tierney. Now, I'm not sure if he was a contributing factor, but Priscilla Lane retired from the movies immediately after making this film. The screenwriters of Bodyguard even give Tierney several tongue-in-cheek lines clearly playing off the public's awareness of his hell-bent reputation.
Now, you know me better than that. I never get into fights.
The script is by Fred Niblo Jr. and Harry Essex, based on a story co-written by Robert Altman. Yes, that Robert Altman. It was his first Hollywood paycheck. Setting a murder mystery in a meat-packing plant was a clever idea, given that the nation had only recently ended wartime meat rationing. And this was the first noir directed by Richard Fleischer for RKO. I've now screened all 7 of them, making Fleischer, along with Fritz Lang, the most represented director on Noir Alley. I guess if you can handle Lawrence Tierney, you can handle anything. From 1948, here is Bodyguard.